Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and we have got a couple special tournaments coming up that I want to cover here on the channel. We got a classic arena takedown involving only champions from the Corrupted Alliance. We'll touch on that probably tomorrow as we get closer to that tournament. But right now, I want to talk about this Fire Night tournament as it will be launching soon. We'll also have to do like a daily morning video talking about if it's worth it to go super hard in the paint in this tournament. We'll have to analyze if the rewards are going to be justifying the investment. But for now, in preparation, I'm going to show you the team that I am going to be using for the Demon Spawn only Fire Night tournament. And then we'll talk about other champions that can fill some roles for you if you're putting together a team that isn't as end game with the champions that I have in my team. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so as we dive into showing you the team that I'm going to be using, one thing I want to cover out the gate is something to consider when you are putting together the team setup and the custom AI. Now, with the Demon Spawn, we do have a mechanic like Kymar where we can reset skills, but we can't use Seer or something from the Orcs where we're able to blast down the enemy team and then like reset the waves and then go again with like Kymar or Renegade. But something that you do want to make sure you're kind of considering is in round 3, we are going to be going up against that Fire Knight shield that we want to make sure and burst down. You don't want to end up in a situation where you use a bunch of cooldown abilities that are single hitters on the shield. So something you want to consider for teams you're putting together in the Fire Night is clicking over to round 3 and then having especially your champions that do these multi-hitters like Krutraxa, doing that A1 first out the gate so you can kind of blast down that shield and then go from there. Allure is a great option. I don't know if you can see over there behind me, but Allure, a great option to use this Psychic Whip to constantly decrease the turn meter. And I believe they fixed her AI to never use the A2 and the A3 on the Fire Night. But if you're using Allure, which I'm sure a lot of you will be, she's one of the best champions in the game for the Fire Night. So obviously a lot of Demon Spawn only teams are going to feature her. You want to lock out the A2 and the A3 and kind of spam that A1 with Allure to keep suppressing that turn meter. And then when it comes down to picking the stage, the unfortunate thing is stage 20 is Force, and with Allure being probably the most popular champion people are going to want to use, your Allure is going to be hitting weak. If you're having trouble keeping up the turn meter suppression, do consider switching it over to like 19, 21, something like that. It doesn't matter, but the most important thing is going to be getting points for the event. The most effective stage for that in terms of points per energy spent is stage 20. So you do want to do that one if you're prioritizing points, but your Allure is going to be hitting weak, so make sure you can kind of cope with that. I ended up going with stage 20, and I'm able to do well enough, consistently enough with my team that it ends up not really being an issue. I'll show you an example of my team running. I did test a bunch of different ways to go about this with my roster. I've got champions like Kymar and Duchess and stuff that are really good. Most of my teams were ending up around the 3-minute mark, really, no matter what I did. This team here, I believe, was ending up at around the 2.5-minute mark. So this ended up being my best option without investing a ton and going crazy in like swapping a bunch of gear and spending 100 million silver to move a bunch of different stuff around and build some crazy Demon Spawn team. This was my best realistic team to kind of put together based on what I was testing. I've got the Countess Lix there to lower the speed. She also places weaken and can kind of help suppress the waves, lower cooldowns. Pretty decent kit. Is also Magic Affinity though, so something worth noting there. Canderfon, I'm lucky enough to have a +3 empowered Canderfon. I believe he's the only champion I have at +3, so he cranks out a pretty good amount of damage, buffs his own speed and all that kind of stuff. You can also get into a little bit of trouble there if you don't have a remove buff mechanic, so keep that in mind. You saw the Krutraxa kind of saved the day there and was able to help me get through the wave 2 unkillable. So right here, you're going to see I've got the weaken, I've got the Krutraxa slamming down those multi-hitters to get a bunch of DPS on the boss. I've got the Allure constantly suppressing the turn meter and keeping that down. I've got Canderfon can usually hit for around 100k and crank out a bunch of DPS. And then I've got Helicath there is a strong affinity to do a decent job helping the team stay alive and also contribute to some damage as well. I tried a bunch of different variations and different ways to go about it. And like I said, most teams were ending up around 3 minutes. So if you're looking to see if you're doing well or not in kind of clearing the dungeon, I'd say if you can do stage 20, somewhere around like the 3 to 4 minute mark with only demon spawn, that would be pretty decent. If you're under 3, I'd say that'd be pretty good. My team here is going to probably average around 2.5 minutes with Krutraxa as the lead to help bump up the damage, and then Candrafon, Helicath, Allure, and Countess Lix. You can see here I'm at about 210. And I'm able to keep the, I'll show you the stats so you can get an idea, but I'm able to keep the turn meter suppressed very easily. It doesn't even matter that my Allure is a weak affinity, and really no problems at all. There you can see Allure getting plenty of turns. If you've got, I can almost do it even without the decreased speed. With the decreased speed, it becomes trivial. The Fire Knight's never going to get his shield back on stage 20, and there we go. 2.5 minute stage 20 with demon spawn only, Krutraxa, Countess Lix, Candrafon, Helicath, and Allure. And if you want to get an idea of some of the stat thresholds that you might want to hit, probably the most important thing is like what speed to get your Allure at. And you can see my Allure right here is 261 speed. I would say if you're over like 240, 250, you should be okay. If you're lower than that, you may want to go to a different stage where the Allure is not going to hit weak. And you're also going to want to probably make sure that you are bringing a decreased speed. Now, some of these roles can be kind of tough to fill in the demon spawn. Some of these things like getting a defense down and getting a decreased speed, getting an increased speed on your whole team. Demon spawn has a lot of amazing champions, but like, you know, where do you get the decreased speed? It's like Countess Lix. Otherwise you're looking for like single target niche champions. Diabolist, funny enough, as a rare is one of the better options for getting AoE increased speed. You can see she's got the big version of it on a 3-turn cooldown when booked, and that's one of the only places to get it as a demon spawn. I was kind of going through the whole roster and looking for people that they don't have like a Lady Kimmy or a Lydia where you're getting like these defense down and these AoE increased speed and these AoE decreased speed. So some of these roles admittedly are tough to fill in the demon spawn, but as long as you've got an Allure you can build with decent enough speed, you should be able to blast through if you prioritize with the custom AI and get that shield down and then keep the turn meter suppressed as long as your Allure is built somewhere around probably 250 speed. You also didn't see me using Sishia. Sishia can be a very powerful champion for this run. You have a triple hitter A1, which is obviously great. The HP burns aren't going to be that amazing, but you do activate them with Sishia. So even though HP burn's not typically very great in the Fire Knight, it can actually be decent with the Sishia. And she also is one of the only ways you're going to get that consistent defense down, but it's deceiving because you have to read this and it says, chance of placing a decreased defense for 2 turns if there are at least 2 enemies under HP burn. So first you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to bring Sishia. She's got the defense break and the weaken. That's super good. But no, in the Fire Knight, we're only fighting 1 opponent, so we're not going to be getting that defense down. We're only going to be getting the weaken. And I was getting that already from Countess Lix and also the Krutraxa, so I didn't need to bring the Sishia, but she can do a decent amount of damage and kind of help you. I would probably replace like Helicath with Sishia, but Helicath being a strong affinity and some of the other utility that he brings, you know, I believe it'd be about the same run with either one. Didn't really affect it too much. Other than that, you've got things like Shazar, who's going to be a strong affinity for stage 20 and does have a triple hitter A1, so going to do a really good job of helping you blast through that shield. Other than that, isn't going to be too great. You know, the detonating of the bombs is nice, can do a decent amount of damage. He'd be an okay option as well. Wither would be a really good support, but the AoE A1 isn't really going to help you a whole lot outside of the waves. But in like a sustained team where you're really in a longer fight, I could see her being a pretty good support. Drexlar does also have a triple hitter A1, which is nice, but the HP burns, again, aren't going to do super great in the Fire Knight because it's not really ever taking turns. As far as other options here, unfortunately, not a whole lot of like Tynix is a good like general utility epic and can do the decreased speed and stuff, which, you know, could be nice to think about bringing in a more budget team. Magnar can hit super hard, obviously, and does also do the defense break. So you want to look out for Magnar to possibly fill in that role. I don't have a Magnar built ready to go right now, but I could maybe slot in Magnar instead of like Helicath and possibly speed up the runs a little bit by getting the defense break break on the A1 with Magnar in there. So that may be something that I swap in if I can get my Magnar kind of built fully and booked during the CVC here. So definitely watch out for a champion like Magnar to help you fill that crucial role of getting the defense break there on the A1. And then a more budget option would be something like Diabolus to look out for by placing the increased speed on your whole team like we talked about. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this look at the Fire Night tournament that is going to be upcoming soon. And remember, if you're watching this video right away, don't start slamming energy in until it is actually live. But also let me know down below what champions you're going to be using, champions that I should have talked about that I didn't, or changes that you would make if you were me to my team. I always enjoy the consistent feedback down in the comment section to help us all learn together as well. So good luck in the Fire Night tournament, and I have got to go prepare for our content creator hangout that we do on Tuesday nights. Hope to see you over there on Twitch, but if not, I will be uploading the VOD here to YouTube as well. But yeah, as always, remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace.